It is the eve of the biggest game in Arsenal's recent history. The city of Budapest is alive, the streets are filled with red and white, and right now every single piece of information coming out of both camps matters. Every training session, every injury update, every word spoken by a player or a manager. It all matters because tomorrow night, Arsenal face Paris Saint-Germain in the UEFA Champions League final. And the question on every Arsenal supporter's mind is simple. Are we ready? The answer, based on everything known right now, is yes. But let me take you through exactly why and exactly what the picture looks like heading into this final, because there is a lot to unpack, and every detail tells a story. Let us start with the fans, because sometimes the mood of the supporters reflects something deeper about a club. Sky Sports News were in Budapest earlier today, and the Arsenal faithful who have made the journey to Hungary were not nervous. They were not anxious. One supporter summed it up perfectly when he said, and I quote directly, "I am not doubting Arteta anymore." That is a statement that carries real weight. This is a fan base that has waited a long time for a moment like this, and the confidence in the stands is real. Now let us be clear about what is at stake here. This is not just another final. For Arsenal, this is the biggest game the club has played in a generation. The pressure on Mikel Arteta is enormous. The pressure on every single player in that squad is enormous. And heading into a match of this scale, every small detail can be the difference between lifting the trophy and going home empty-handed. That is exactly why the injury situation at right back has been one of the most watched stories of this entire week. Ben White is out. He has a knee injury and will not feature. That is confirmed. That means the right back position, one of the most important positions on the pitch, given the threats Arsenal will face from Paris Saint-Germain, has been a major concern. And then there is Jurrien Timber. If you want deeper analysis on stories like this, and if you want to understand what is really happening behind the scenes at Arsenal and across European football, hit that subscribe button right now. Tessa, Arsenal analyst, brings you the full picture, not just the headlines. Subscribe and stay informed. Let us now go step by step through everything we know. Jurrien Timber, the return that changes everything. It is now clear that Jurrien Timber has not played since the 14th of March. That was a 2-0 win over Everton. Since that match, he has been dealing with a groin issue that has kept him out for 70 days. 70 days on the sideline for a player who is absolutely central to how Arsenal operate on the right side of their defence. That is not a short absence. That is a significant chunk of the season. But here is where the story gets interesting. Up until Monday of this week, Timber had been training alone. Separate sessions. Individual tests to assess how robust his body was after the injury. The club were being careful. They were not rushing him. And that caution tells you how seriously Arsenal take the long-term health of their players. Then came Wednesday. Timber returned to first-team training. And from what has been reported, he came through that session with no issues whatsoever. He felt good afterwards. That is the exact language being used by those close to the situation. He felt good. No setbacks. No complications. Now let me give you my analysis of what that actually means. It means Arteta now has a real decision to make. A genuine selection dilemma. Because the question is no longer whether Timber is injured. The question is whether you start a player who has not played competitive football in 70 days in a Champions League final. That is a huge call. And it is the kind of decision that only the very best managers can make correctly. The evidence suggests that Arteta is seriously considering it. Paul Merson, someone who knows Arsenal inside out, has gone as far as saying Arteta should start Timber even if he is only half fit. That tells you how highly the defensive qualities of this player are rated. And when you understand why, the logic becomes very clear. Timber and Bukayo Saka have developed something special on Arsenal's right side. They understand each other's movements in a way that takes years to build. Timber knows exactly where Saka wants the ball and when. That kind of relationship cannot simply be replicated by putting someone else in that position for a Champions League final. And then there is the defensive assignment waiting for whoever plays right back. Khvicha Kvaratskhelia, one of the most dangerous wingers in world football right now. The Georgian has been in sensational form throughout Paris Saint-Germain's entire Champions League campaign. Containing him is not a job for someone who is uncertain in their positioning or uncomfortable in one-on-one situations. It is a job for a specialist. And Timber is that specialist. The situation is that Arsenal will go into this final with serious hope that their first choice right back will be on the pitch from the start. But even if he starts on the bench, his presence in the squad changes the dynamic entirely. Arsene Wenger speaks, and his words carry meaning. Now let us talk about Arsene Wenger, the man who built modern Arsenal, the man who gave the club its identity, its philosophy, its belief that beautiful football and winning are not mutually exclusive. He spoke about this final, and his words are worth analysing carefully. Wenger said, and I am reading this directly, "Overall, I believe this is a stage where we can grab it. I still believe it is 50-50 in the final, and if I had to bet, I would bet on Arsenal more than Paris Saint-Germain." Let me break that down. Wenger is not a man who speaks carelessly. He knows Paris Saint-Germain well. He knows European football well. And when he says 50-50, he is not being diplomatic. He genuinely believes this is an evenly matched contest. But then he goes further. He says if forced to choose, he leans Arsenal. That is significant. That is not blind loyalty. That is an informed assessment from someone who has studied both clubs at the highest level. My analysis of his words is this. Wenger sees something in this Arsenal squad that goes beyond talent. He sees belief. He sees an organisation that has been built properly, and he sees a final that Arsenal are not just participating in, they are competing to win it. Riccardo Calafiori speaks from the camp. Riccardo Calafiori was interviewed by CBS Sports Golazo, and what he said tells you a great deal about the mindset inside the Arsenal dressing room right now. He said, and again I'm reading this directly, "For the first time in the season, we have a lot of days to prepare. Obviously, Paris Saint-Germain won it last season, but I feel and see it as an opportunity for us because maybe we want it more than them." Now that last sentence, maybe we want it more than them, that is not arrogance. That is hunger. That is a player who understands that motivation and desire can be decisive factors in a football match. Paris Saint-Germain are the defending champions. They have been here before. They know what winning this trophy feels like. And Calafiori is essentially saying that Arsenal's desperation, their absolute hunger to get their hands on that trophy for the first time, could be the edge that separates the two sides. He also makes a very practical point. More preparation time than usual. In the chaos of a modern football season, having extra days to prepare for a game of this magnitude is genuinely valuable. Arteta will have been able to work on structure, shape, set pieces, and individual assignments in a way that is simply not possible during a normal match week. My analysis here is that Calafiori's words reflect a squad that is mentally very well prepared. They are not overawed. They are not nervous. They see an opportunity, and that is exactly the mindset you need going into a Champions League final. Piero Hincapié. Trust built over time. Piero Hincapié sat down with CBS Sports Golazo and reflected on the conversations he had with Mikel Arteta when he first arrived at the club. What he described reveals something important about how Arteta operates as a manager, Hincapié said, and I am quoting directly. "He was always clear with me and told me he wanted my absolute best every time I got the chance. Obviously, you step onto the field and either earn a starting spot or you do not, but you always have to be ready for that and then nothing. At the end of the day, it turned out as we had hoped." What Arteta told Hincapié when he joined is essentially the same message he gives every player. Be ready. Be at your best. Earn your place. There are no guarantees. That kind of clarity from a manager builds trust. It removes uncertainty. And it means players know exactly where they stand at all times. My analysis of this is that Hincapié's words paint a picture of a squad culture built on accountability. Arteta does not promise players starting spots. He promises opportunity. And it is up to each individual to seize that opportunity when it comes. That kind of environment produces mentally tough footballers. And mental toughness is exactly what is required in a Champions League final. Hincapié himself is someone who has developed significantly under Arteta. His presence in this squad is a reflection of what that environment can produce. A player who came in, understood what was expected, worked for his place, and is now preparing to start in one of the biggest games in the club's history. Cesc Fabregas backs Arsenal. And he does not hold back. Cesc Fabregas is a former Arsenal captain. He grew up at this club. And he spoke about this final with a level of conviction that went well beyond sentiment. Fabregas said he does not believe Paris Saint-Germain will be able to beat what he described as Mikel Arteta's well-organised, determined and confident team. He pointed to Arsenal's Premier League triumph, their defensive solidity and their collective mentality as the key pillars of his confidence. He also said, and I want to highlight this specifically, that he thinks 80% of the chances are leaning towards Arsenal. Now, 80% is a bold number. Let us be analytical about this. Fabregas is not just guessing. He is pointing to specific factors. The Premier League title is not just a trophy. It is evidence of consistency, character and quality across a full season. It is evidence that this squad can handle pressure over a long period of time. And in a final, where mental strength matters as much as tactical quality, that kind of evidence is genuinely relevant. He also described the balance of the tie as slightly favouring Arsenal, and he believes Arteta's side have demonstrated throughout the season that they can handle the biggest occasions. My analysis here is straightforward. Fabregas knows Arsenal. He knows what it takes to perform in high-pressure environments. And when he says 80%, he is not being reckless. He is making a considered assessment based on what he has seen from this Arsenal squad all season long. Josh Kroenke and the NFL moment that changed Arsenal's approach. This is one of the most fascinating details to emerge from the build-up to this final. Josh Kroenke revealed that he once took Mikel Arteta to an American football game, and what happened at that game has had a lasting impact on how Arsenal play. Kroenke recalled exactly what Arteta said to him. Every single play is a set piece. Every play is choreographed. And Arteta took that observation back to Arsenal with him. The result, according to Kroenke, is that Arsenal have since scored more choreographed goals than any other team in the world. He then pointed to the goal against Newcastle at home as a brilliant example. Arsenal won that game, and that win was a key moment in their journey to winning the Premier League title. My analysis of this is that it tells you everything about how Arteta's mind works. He is not limited to football for his ideas. He looks at other high-performance environments, extracts the principles that apply and brings them into his coaching. The idea that every play is a set piece, every movement is choreographed, every action has a purpose, that is a philosophy that translates directly into how Arsenal press, how they defend, and how they attack from dead ball situations. It is now clear that Arsenal's dominance in set-piece situations is not accidental. It has been deliberately built over years of work inspired in part by a trip to an American football game. That is the level of detail that separates good managers from great ones. Paris Saint-Germain confirmed their squad, and the news is significant. Now let us look at the other side of this final, because Paris Saint-Germain have confirmed their squad for Saturday, and there are two names on that list that every Arsenal supporter needs to be aware of. Achraf Hakimi and Ousmane Dembélé have both made the cut. Hakimi had missed 5 games with a thigh problem heading into this final. Dembélé suffered a calf scare during Paris Saint-Germain's final league match against Paris FC earlier this month. Both were fitness concerns. Both were question marks hanging over Luis Enrique's preparation. And now both are in the squad. The situation is that Paris Saint-Germain have named 24 players in their travelling party. Champions League rules allow up to 12 substitutes to be named. That means one of the 24 players will effectively serve as a reserve, with most expectation pointing towards third-choice goalkeeper Renato Marin. That means Hakimi and Dembélé are not simply filling numbers. They are in contention to play. Let me give you my analysis of what this means for Arsenal specifically. Hakimi is one of the most dynamic right-backs in world football. He is an attacking threat of the highest order. He will be bombing forward down that right side all evening. And whoever plays left-back for Arsenal will have their work cut out. Then there is Dembélé. He is the Ballon d'Or winner. He is one of the most dangerous forwards in European football. His ability to carry the ball at defenders, create space and deliver in the final third is exceptional. His availability means Arsenal's defensive shape will be tested severely from the very first minute. The reality for Arsenal is that they were probably preparing for both players to be available regardless. You do not prepare for a Champions League final hoping the opposition's best players are injured. You prepare for the worst-case scenario. And the worst-case scenario for Arsenal is a fully fit Hakimi and a fully fit Dembélé playing together in a Paris Saint-Germain attack that also includes Kvicha Kvaratskhelia. That is a formidable attacking line. And Arsenal's defensive organisation, their structure, their discipline, and critically the fitness of Jurrien Timber will be absolutely central to stopping it. The bonus that reveals Paris Saint-Germain's mentality. There is one more detail from the Paris Saint-Germain camp that deserves close attention. According to a report from L'Équipe, Paris Saint-Germain players are set to earn a €1 million bonus each if they win the Champions League against Arsenal. And it was the players themselves, specifically Marquinhos, Hakimi, Dembélé and Vitinha, who reportedly helped negotiate that agreement with the club. Now let me be very clear. This is a report. It has not been officially confirmed by Paris Saint-Germain. But if accurate, it tells you something interesting about the culture inside that dressing room. My analysis of this is nuanced. On one hand, players negotiating their own bonus structures suggests a level of agency and motivation within the squad. They are not simply accepting what the club offers. They are actively involved in the structure of their incentives. On the other hand, you could argue that the best players in world football should not need a €1 million bonus to be motivated in a Champions League final. The trophy itself should be enough. Whether this incentive structure helps or hinders Paris Saint-Germain's performance on the night is impossible to say. But it is a detail worth noting. It adds another layer to the narrative surrounding the French club heading into this match. Kai Havertz speaks, and Arsenal's belief is clear. Finally, let us end with Kai Havertz, because what he said captures the entire mindset of this Arsenal squad in a way that nothing else quite does. He said, and I want to read this carefully because every word matters, you need to get there, and then you still have to make that step and win it. It is going to be hard, but we are going to be well prepared. We have been fighting on the highest level for a couple of years now, and we have finally won the Premier League. That gives us a big boost. It does not matter if you are an underdog or whatever. We are going to go on the pitch and are going to beat them. That final line, we are going to go on the pitch and are going to beat them. That is not bravado. That is belief. There is a difference. Bravado is noise. Belief is quiet, controlled, and built on evidence. Havertz points to the Premier League title as a source of confidence. And rightly so. Winning a league title over the course of a full season, handling the pressure of every match day, dealing with injuries, setbacks, and the relentless demands of competing at the top, that builds a kind of mental strength that simply cannot be faked. And Arsenal have that now. He also acknowledges the difficulty. It is going to be hard. He does not pretend otherwise. And that honesty, that balance between belief and realism is exactly the kind of mindset that wins finals. My analysis of Havertz's words is this. This is a player who has played at the highest level for a long time. He has been in big games. He knows what it feels like. And the fact that he speaks with this level of calm conviction, without panic, without overconfidence, suggests that the mood inside the Arsenal camp is exactly where it needs to be. Final thoughts. Let me bring everything together. Because when you look at the full picture heading into this Champions League final, the story it tells is a compelling one. Arsenal are prepared. Their manager has had extra days to get his tactics right. Their fans are confident and vocal in Budapest. Their former legends are backing them. Their players are speaking with calm conviction and real belief. The only genuine concern remains the right-back position. Ben White is out. Timber is back in training but has not played in 70 days. That is a real uncertainty. And Paris Saint-Germain, with Hakimi, Dembele and Kvaratskhelia available, will probe that area relentlessly. But the evidence suggests Arsenal are ready. The evidence suggests that Mikel Arteta has built something at this club that is capable of winning the biggest prize in European club football. The Premier League title was not the destination. It was preparation for moments like this. Tomorrow night in Budapest, Arsenal step into the arena. And based on everything known right now, they step in with belief, with structure, with quality and with hunger. The final is here, and Arsenal are ready.